Mr. Gentleman Senator. Actually, there was a MOA that was signed by the Commission on Human Rights and the Victims Compensation Office of the DOJ to rationalize and to facilitate the payment of compensation.
Ito na nga, DOJ Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla hindi nagsasabi ng totoo patungkol sa illegal na pagkakadakip kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Pero bago ang lahat, maaari kayong mag-subscribe para maging updated sa mga issue at bagong mga balita. Sa naganap na Budget Committee hearing ng Senado, nabanggit nga ni DOJ Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla na wala na talagang jurisdiction ng ICC sa ating bansa. Ngunit biglang ang nag-iba ang ihip ng hangin nang magkaroon ng hidwaan sa dalawang dating magkaalyadong Marcos at Duterte. Nitong nakaraang araw nga ay dinakip ang dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte at pinaubaya ito sa ICC. Nabanggit din nga ni Remulla ang tamang proseso sa pag-aresto at kung ano ang mga legal na hakbang ukol dito. At dito nga'y hindi tugma ang sinabi ni DOJ Secretary Remulla sa naganap na pag-aresto sa dating Pangulo. Narito ang buong detalye.
My next question is about the ICC. So supposedly the DOJ, this is just for the record, because there are also others that are interested in this. You have maintained that the International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction here, but that you also reiterated that although you will not cooperate with them, you will not hinder them from conducting their investigation. Or please clarify if I said that right, or you can in your own words, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We are no longer members of the ICC, but right now, because of the technology that's available to all of us, it was so easy for them to go on Zoom, to go on a video call with all of these witnesses or probable witnesses who are here in the country, and we cannot stop them from doing that. Freedom of communication, I think, is paramount when it comes to this. But when it comes to them going into the country, kung gusto nila pumasok dito upang manghuhuli at magpasagawa ng warrant na kanila pong na-issue po siguro ng ICC pagdating ng panahon, kailangan ho itong dumaan sa ating court system. Ito po ay kinakailangan ng isang action to enforce a warrant, action to enforce a judgment. Kailangan po dumaan yan sa ating court system. Kaya hindi ho namin pakikialaman kasi yan po trabaho na ng Interpol kung talagang gusto nilang habulin yung tao na nasasaktal. Yung sabihin natin, nag-issue po na warrant of arrest ng ICC, gusto mong enforce ng Interpol dito, pero para ho ito ay matuloy at hindi ho magkaroon ng kasuhan, kinakailangan pumunta muna sila sa korte natin. Yun po ang aming paningin.
So, maliwanag yan na mag-imbestiga sila, hindi man natin sila mapipigilan. Actually, they can do it they can do it under the radar. We may or may not monitor them. On the other hand, if a warrant is to be served, that they need to go through the proper courts to determine if the warrant is called for or legal, or what's the...
Well, it really depends on if the Supreme Court thinks that there are some things that the Supreme Court would be looking at. If what was alleged in the crime would have happened if we're still members of the ICC. That is one of the things that can be of importance to the courts when they do enforce a warrant, or if they will actually allow a warrant to be served in our country from an international tribunal.
Now, if let's say it is submitted to the DOJ that these are their findings and there's really probable cause, would the DOJ or maybe the OSG pursue such a case? If let's say the courts will say, no, we will not allow the warrant to be served because this is not their jurisdiction, but there's actually reason for it to be served.
Actually, we were telling the United Nations Human Rights Commission that if they will give us the evidence, we will pursue. Kasi ang problema ho namin dito, napakahirap hong kumuha ng testigo, natitestigo sa mga pulis o tatestigo sa mga maaari pong gumawa ng mga karumal-dumal na krimen. Sapagkat, natatakot po yung tao eh. Ngayon, kung bibigyan nila kami ng tamang ebidensya at ito po yung aming pwede i-follow up, kami na ho ang hahabol. Yun po yung aming pulisiya dito. Ang problema nga ho ay meron kong sinasabi yung mga kaibigan natin na well-meaning naman. May 200 families daw na gustong magreklamo, pero ang hawak daw nila 8. Pero sa 8, ang makakausap nyo 2 lang. Tapos yung 2 pa, wala pang ibibigay na totoong ebidensya. Napakahirap po talaga maghabol. Ang ano nga yung nag-hearing po ang Human Rights Committee ng Kongreso tungkol dito. At ang lumalabas po talaga, yung mga nangyari po kasing EJK nung panahon na yon, ay wala hong police report eh. Walang police blotter, wala hong record. Kaya napakahirap hong maghabol talaga. Yun po yung aming, yun po yung pinakabalakid po sa pagnanais namin na hulihin talaga lahat ng nagkasala. Pag wala hong ebidensya, ano hong gagawin namin?
Basically sa EJK, wala pa kayong nahuhuli or napoprosecute?
Meron na naman na convict, di ba? Meron na convict. Dalawa pa lang ho nako-convict sa EJK. Pero yung talagang full prosecution ng lahat na wholesale, wala ho kasi wala naman nagsasalita eh. Wala hong testigo.
Or wala nga direct witness, di ba?
Wala hong testigo, walang witness po.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's do some wish list checks, ha? Kasi ito yung mga pwedeng natin mabigay, no? Yung mga hinihingi na 60 million for training expenses. Pwede ko bang basahin to? Okay. 400 million for building repairs. 400 million for other general services. Parang may mga magic number. 60 million for maintenance and operating expenses. 832 million for construction and development of prosecutorial offices. 326.25 million for ISSP for fiscal year 2025. So, what I would like to ask is, of course, these are all important, diba? If you can please, prioritize, ito yung una, ito yung pinaka-importante, number 1, number 2, number 3, and what's the bare minimum of each. So, because everybody will have their wish list, but we would like to accommodate as much as we can have the right fiscal space for it.
We will submit, ma'am. We will submit.
This chair would like to recognize the presence of our Senate President, Senator Escudero. So as long as he's here, there's no session.
Very briefly, Madam Chair, with your permission, and with the permission of our invited guests from the DOJ family, just some directed questions. Number 1, with the BID, anong status na offloaded passengers natin na ilan so far this year ang in-offload ninyo? Naglagay kami ng provision na ma-reimburse sila. I heard during the committee na walang nag-complain. But my question is there a procedure to reimburse?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon.
Yes, please. Hi, sir.
The guidelines as mandated under the special provision on the 2024 GAA, the Department of Justice and the through the IACAT and the Bureau of Immigration, we already completed the guidelines for the refund. We submitted it to the Department of Budget and Management. However, the DBM said that COA should be included as part of the signatory of the guidelines.
Malapit na kami mag-session, sir. So the short answer is wala pang guidelines.
Nothing yet, sir.
Yeah. Kaya nga walang nakakapag-claim kasi wala pa hong guidelines eh. So may I know the backlog is with the DBM or with COA?
It's with the DBM because they are saying that COA should be part of the guidelines, but COA says we are not supposed to be part of the COA, but it's in the special provision that they will be part of the guidelines.
I'll talk to Secretary Mina for that because I don't believe COA will also agree to be part of the guidelines, because how can they be part of the entity creating the guidelines when they will be the ones issuing you the AOM?
Yes, Your Honor.
Di ba? Conflict of interest naman po sa kanila eh. So, we will try to do that, sir. Because we intend to retain this provision. You have to understand, sir. It seems ironic, hindi po ba? Na yung mga ayaw nating paalisin, like you're hearing yesterday about the GOS, nakakaalis. Tapos yung mga gusto nating, yung okay lang sa ating umalis, sila naman yung nahihirapang umalis. The irony is so stark that it's actually frustrating to find out that over 16,000 have been still ordered to be disembarked. And next thing I want to raise up, thank you, sir. I won't belabor Secretary the Secretary Boying too much. Soljen, what's the status of the study, whether or not we can enforce, recognize the foreign judgment on the arbitral ruling in favor of the Philippines in regard to our claim in the West Philippine Sea?
SP, we're still studying that. We have not completed it. We have identified the existing laws or rules pertaining to enforcement and recognition of foreign judgment. In foreign judgments regarding private cases, that's covered by Rule 39 already. In international commercial arbitration cases, that's covered by the UN, rather by the New York Convention, and domestically by Rule 39. In state investment disputes, international, that's usually covered by their own rules. For example, the rules of the ICSID. But when it comes, Your Honor, to state versus state, like those being handled by the International Court of Justice, by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, by the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea, that's where our problem is. Because in these types of cases, state versus state, it really depends on the political will of the state concerned. So if we go to the Supreme Court, or to any court for that matter, to ask for the enforcement or acknowledgement of that foreign, let's say, arbitral tribunal ruling, we may be faced with certain major procedural issues, like, for example, do we have jurisdiction over the foreign state? Or how do we enforce it, even if that's recognized? So it's basically a political question that maybe even the courts may not want to touch. So we look at the political branches of government to answer that question, whether we go to the Congress to enact a law or pass a resolution, or we just stick to the good judgment of the chief executive. But as I said earlier, we're still studying it, and we're trying to find a way where we can address the issue of, for example, the 2016 Arbitral Tribunal Award, how it will be honored permanently from one administration to another. That is the issue that we're trying to resolve here. Mr.
That is
Senate
actually the
President.
main point. Not so much enforcement, Soljen, of the arbitral ruling against China, because clearly you cannot decide that. Our courts cannot decide that. We cannot even do that with our commander-in-chief and president, whoever that may be. But it is precisely to bind and tie the hands of whoever our chief executive will be, because it's part of the law of the land already. He cannot simply change policy simply because he's the chief architect of our foreign policy. His hands will not be tied because he swore to execute and faithfully follow the laws of the Philippines. We will be passing the maritime and the sea lanes bills, but that might not be enough, because a position was taken by the DFA not to so identify it in the law. Thus far, the only thing we have is the arbitral ruling, which clearly China is not accepting, but at least we should, because decisions of the court form part of the law of the land anyway. So it would be good that we can hold on to something and demand something of a president in the future. Good that President Marcos has taken this position, but the previous administration was not as strong, and we would want subsequent administrations and presidents to actually take a similar position that President Marcos has taken in relation to our claims and rights and ownership over the West Philippine Sea. Kindly update me. Soljan.
Yes, Your Honor. I
with respect to
think
your study.
the Maritime Zones Bill and the Archipelagic Sea Lanes Bill would be a very good start.
It would be a good start, but might still not be enough.
Not
Again,
very direct.
don't worry about the enforcement part, Soljan. Just the recognition part so that it binds Philippine officials with respect to what the arbitral ruling has granted our country already.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I still have 3 minutes, Madam Chairman. No, I will stop because we have sessions. That's more important. Yes. If there are no other interpolators, I will second. No, you have to rule. I will second Senator JV's motion.
Yes, thank you, our Senate President. First of all, Madam Chair, congratulate the DOJ for the reforms that they have instituted. Of course, the improvement of the resolution of cases. And with that, Madam Chair, I move that the fiscal year 2025 budget of the Department of Justice, its attached agencies be approved in this committee and be forwarded to the plenary.
Second the motion, Madam Chair.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for their presence here today, and I'm it's quite refreshing to have two very capable leaders and heads of agency, where Secretary Remulla and Solicitor General Guevara, who already has a track record. I'm quite impressed. Of course, there's a lot of work to be done, but you've been there for 2.5 years. You've instituted some reforms already that have been quite effective, like law enforcement, cooperation with the prosecutorial side. But I would like to request for certain submissions to be given to us. The Secretariat will notify your office. We will check it prior to the budget. So as of now, the budget of the Department of Justice and its attached agencies are deemed submitted this year.
Yes.
They're getting more than what was recommended by NEDA. Kasi sa NEDA, di ba, 20 pesos, 20 pesos per meal. 64 a day.
63 pesos a day, 64.
So, pasok ho kayo dun sa what was required by NEDA.
Yung sa NEDA ho kasi, wala hong katkong yun eh. Wala hong kickback. Ang problema namin, pag nagpabid ka, sari-sari hong paraan yan na mga supplier system na nagkakaroon talaga ng corruption. Mahirap hong abatin eh. We're trying to figure out the best way to feed all these prisoners. Naghahanap tayo ng paraan talaga na mapakain sila ng gusto. Ang problema nga ay marami hong gustong kumita. At dyan po tayo na nalilintikan. Ang estimate ng aking mga kasama sa loob ng DOJ, sa 70 pesos, mas swerte na ako yung 45 at pupunta talaga sa lamesa ng bawat nakakulong na wala ng laya. All the PDLs. Kaya, yun po yung isang problema dyan. We have to figure out a way to feed them without any corruption coming in. Iyan ho ang isa sa pinakamahirap na problema natin. Mas malala pa nga sa sa BJMP, but I cannot really speak on it because it's not within my jurisdiction. But I have it on good word that they have a worse problem sa mga detention prisoners. Yung 70 pesos mukhang mas malaki pa yung nawawala. Kaya yun po, sana po mahanapan natin ng paraan na mapakain natin ng maayos sa mga nakakulong, nakapiit sa mga lansangan.
Secretary, actually, I appreciate your candidness. Unfortunately, well, you mentioned that it's so difficult to control it, no? Number one, we're actually quite bothered na yung pinapadalang pera sa kanila, nakakaltasan pa. Kasi ba, wala silang cellphone dapat, di ba? So, dumadaan siguro sa gwardiya. So, nakakaltasan ng 20%. Ngayon, kasi kami dito, budget and legislation. So, kung may nakikita kaming tagas, hindi naman solusyon ang pagdagdag, 'di ba? Hindi pagdagdag ng budget. Ang solusyon noon ay tapalan yung tagas. So, paano kaya natin may naiisip na ba kayong paraan? Intelligence ba 'to? Kasi baka naman dun sa confidential funds niyo, pwedeng madagdagan, matukoy kung sino yung mga gumagawa ng ganito. Ano nakikita ninyong solusyon? No? Ayaw niyong isiwalat ngayon sapagkat baka malaman.
Alam mo ito
Diba?
ma'am, if, with your permission. Kultura na po ito na nandyan na sa napakahabang panahon. Nung una kong upo as Secretary of Justice, isa sa mga unang nakipag-usap sa akin, yung gusto kong humawak ng catering ng New Bilibid Prisons. Pero kahit kailan po hindi ko kinausap si General Katapang tungkol sa bagay na yan, sapagkat ayoko hong pakialaman. Iyan po ay nararapat lang hawakan ng namumuno sa Bureau of Corrections. Pero yan po, ang kultura po talaga, ang tingin ng tao, sapagkat malaki yung budget, malaki ang kikitain. Hindi na nila iniisip yung repercussions po ng pagkita nila ng pera doon. Yun yung mabigat eh. Pero ito yung kultura na. Yung maraming tao po, ang pagtingin nila sa Bucor, kung ano ang kikitain namin sa catering. Yun po yung isa sa pinakamabigat na problema ho natin. Kasi palabigasan po yan ng maraming taong nais pong kumita.